Hey folks, Ray from DCRainmaker.com. Today I've got Wahoo's newest trainer, the Wahoo KICKR the new Wahoo KICKR. Well, it doesn't actually have a name. It's just simply called the new Wahoo KICKR. It's just sort of like Apple products, the new iPad, it's the same sort of thing. Now Wahoo's never really had a great time with naming products. They've always left off vowels. It must be something in the water down there. So this is just simply called the new KICKR, and that is the KICKR. New KICKR, KICKR. Got it? Okay, so there are 5 differences between the new KICKR and the KICKR, the old KICKR. And I'm going to walk through all those, and then we're going to jump on the trainer and do a bit of a sound and kind of audio test to see how loud it is. That's one of the 5 things that we're going to talk about. But let's get started. So Wahoo says when they were making this trainer, the goal wasn't necessarily to design a complete revolutionary new trainer, but basically to take the items and the feedback that they received on the existing KICKR and improve upon it and kind of filter that down into the top 5 buckets. So starting with number 1, not in terms of priority, just in terms of my little list here, is moving the trainer around in the handle. So on this new trainer here, you've got this rubberized handle, and the entire thing is balanced. So when I pick it up, it's going to pick up straight. It's not going to flop around. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to simply pick up a trainer here, and again, you see it goes up, and it doesn't flop around. Now, counter that, no pun intended, with the original KICKR. It's got this handle down here, there's no rubber, it's kind of a little bit awkward, and as soon as I pick it up, it will go straight towards my shins, eliciting lots of swear words. I know this, so I know it's going to happen. So I'm going to pick it up, and it goes like this, and it flips over, and it looks like a horrible wet fish. So you can see, it's a little thing, it's not huge, it's not like it's an earth-shattering thing, but it's just a minor change, which is really the kind of the overall theme of the KICKR 2, or new KICKR. Next, we've got connectivity. So they heard a lot of complaints that it was tough to figure out whether or not the unit was actually on or connected. And it's powered on, so you've got this power cable here. You have a tiny little light there, but you couldn't really tell whether or not this thing was actually responding. What they've done now is put these 2 little LEDs down here. So you've got an amp plus LED and a Bluetooth one indicating it's paired to something. So just a small symbol that the unit is on, it is working, it is functioning, and it just makes it kind of easier to understand what's going on. On this unit here, there is no LEDs or anything else. Next, they wanted to tackle sound and loudness. So, how noisy is the trainer? Now, the KICKR was never really known as a super quiet trainer, but it also wasn't a super noisy trainer either. What it had instead was this high-pitched sort of whine thing that drove some people absolutely bonkers. And that, in a large part, was because of the belt, among other things. But in this case, what they've done is they've changed that belt out. So if you look carefully at the 2, you'll see the new KICKR has a slightly different model belt than the old KICKR. So some minor changes there that they say have reduced the noise dramatically. So they're making kind of an interesting claim here. They're saying that it's the quietest direct drive trainer with a flywheel on the market today, in terms of electronic direct drive trainers. So you might be thinking, oh wow, it's a quiet direct drive trainer. And yes, but it's the with the flywheel asterisk that's most important. And the reason is because if you look at something like the Tax Neo, which I can tell you right now is quieter, that trainer does not technically have a flywheel. It has a virtual flywheel. So that trainer is quieter, and it actually claims a higher accuracy rate, and it's more expensive and all that jazz. But because of that little asterisk by this with the flywheel piece, they can get away with that claim. And we'll have to see whether or not that's true. We'll throw this on with the decibel meter there and see what happens. Next, they want to be more responsive, meaning that if you really throw it on the power at a very quick interval change there, say from 150 watts to 700 or 800 watts, that it'll respond instantaneously. And they said on the original KICKR it was good, but they wanted to see if they could tweak that a little bit more. And so here they've changed that on this KICKR. We'll try that out and see if that's the case or not. Personally, I never really had that much of an issue with this in terms of responsiveness for my particular output. I do 30-30s with something like 150 watts to 500, 550, maybe 600 watts, and it changed pretty darn quick. I mean, you don't actually want a trainer to change instantaneously. If a trainer went from 0 watts to 800 watts like this, you would instantly stop. It'd be like hitting a brick wall. So you want a slight curve there, a second or 2 seconds, 3 seconds, something like that, that really ramps that up. You just don't want this to be that quickly. It can go far faster than you could outdoors, so you don't want it quite that quickly. Next and last, they want it to be more precise. So there's certainly been a lot of talk about this over the last few years. People have said that the initial batch of KICKRs when it first came out were really accurate. That's what I found in my testing. And then they said that over time there was some sort of quality decrease and the accuracy kind of waned a little bit. And then Wahoo came back and said, well, they've hired a bunch of extra people and they've put every KICKR through a new testing protocol and that increased the accuracy again. I don't really know where things stand. I haven't like tested every single kicker for the last 2 or 3 years now, every month to see what quality levels look like. I know that this one is one of my original ones that I bought a couple years ago, and it's still solid. So we'll have to see. In any case, they're saying here with the new kicker that they're bringing the accuracy within 2%, and they've done that a few different ways. One is that they've tweaked some algorithms, and some of those have shown up here in the original kicker. But two is that they've actually removed the strain gauge. Instead, they're going ahead and reading power by measuring the force on the brake instead, which they say they can actually increase the responsiveness, but also increase the accuracy. So they're down to 2% versus the claimed 3% over here. Though I'm pretty sure they always claim that was actually 2% too. But nonetheless, they're saying 2% here, and that it should be much more accurate across the board. And also they said that strain gauge in the past was prone to breaking. They said the failure rate was somewhat high on this one over here from a strain gauge standpoint, which may actually lead to some of those accuracy issues that people have said. I'm guessing that when they talk about their failure rate, it may not be a black and white issue. It may be something like, you know, the failure rate is high enough that it still works, but the accuracy falls out of sync, versus a complete failure as in not working at all. So that's a quick overview. Beyond that, they are virtually identical. You'll notice almost no other differences to them. Okay, so here in about 15 seconds less of the 5 changes again, we have 1, a new handle, 2, LED lights indicating it's connected, 3, it's more responsive, 4, it should be quieter, and 5, it should be more accurate. So those are the 5 things. What we'll do here is we're going to go change real quick, and then I'll jump on the trainer, put my bike on here, and we'll get some audio testing with the decibel meter. With that, let's get going. Okay, so here we are. I've got the kicker all set up, still plugged in. I've got a couple of the units here to monitor power, and I'm ready to roll. So jump on the kicker. Now what I've got here configured in terms of decibel levels and things like that. On this side here we have my decibel level stoplight. So you can hit the video up there to see all about that and how that works. It's configured at 70 decibels right now. So that means that if I talk above 70 decibels, the yellow light lights up, which means it's, you know, kind of so-so. Red would be horrible, but we're not going to hit that today. Green is below that level, and that means that it's pretty good. It's pretty normal, or it's better than normal in terms of loudness. On the iPad there, I've got the current decibel levels. Keep in mind, these two might differ slightly. They're positioned different places, they're using different algorithms, so I wouldn't fret too much about that. It's more about kind of a general gist of how things are looking. So with that, I'm on the big ring in the front and the middle and the back, which should give it a pretty actually loud sound. So I'm kind of going for where the upper end range is there. Keep in mind though that the loudness levels, how loud something is on a trainer, is purely a function of speed, at least on electronically controlled trainers. For cheaper trainers that don't have an electronic control, it's different, but for electronic trainers, it's purely speed. The faster you go, the louder it is. Doesn't matter if you're doing 1,000 watts or 100 watts, it's speed. So what's great about erg mode is that you can go ahead and basically go to a gear combination, small in the front, small in the back, that reduces the speed and will make it much, much quieter. So just something to keep in mind. With that, let's go and get started. So I'm going to pedal here. Get up to speed, I think it'll be about 15, 20 miles an hour here. So I'm at 18 miles an hour right now. When I talk, the yellow light goes on. When I don't talk, it's green. I'm going to give you about 10 or 15 seconds. Now right now, you're listening to it on this mic. So I'm going to give you about 10, 15 seconds of that, and then I'm going to switch and put the camera mic on so you can hear what that sounds like. Here we go. Okay, so you can see it's all green. Now let me switch to the camera mic. Okay, now on the camera mic, you can hear it sounds more echoey in here, and you're hearing the trainer as well as my drivetrain, wherever clean it is or isn't. Now you notice you don't hear that kind of high-pitched tone anymore, it's gone, so it's a bit of a difference. Do a quick sprint here, and you can hear it'll kind of rev up a second. And then you can hear that as it just spins back down again. A little bit higher pitched, but again, you know, it's not fairly common that it'll be freewheeling like this because of the mode that it's in. Okay, so there you have it. That's just a look at the new KICKR here and how it works. Go ahead and hit that link down below, though, for my full in-depth review, where I talk about all sorts of KICKR new stuff, from accuracy testing to general opinions and all sorts of goodness. It's down the link down to the bottom. And of course, definitely hit the like button down there as well as a subscribe button. There's tons of cool sports technology gizmos and gadgets coming out over the next little while, especially here in the month of September, where there's lots of cool stuff on the way. So with that, thanks for watching.